You know what I stopped doing years ago as a game master? Asking players, are you sure you want to do that? I stopped this whole protecting players from their own decisions. I stopped. I was tempted when I first really put it on myself to stop doing that. Because, like many game masters, I want the best for the players, the best experience, the best outcome. I don't want them to foolishly walk into, the fire and lose their characters. But is that my job? Is it helping them become better players by me protecting them? Like, you get a lot of players out there when you're protecting them that when they finally have something bad happen, they might blame you. But I notice that if you don't protect them, players, if you just let them walk into the fire, as harsh as the outcome can be, they don't blame you. You let them do whatever they want, they won't blame you. I find it weird when you're clearly protecting them from their own bad decisions. That's when I find a lot of game masters will get accused of running the game poorly or running the rules poorly. So the outcome is that player lost their character because of the game master, but maybe it was just because of the player's own bad decisions. Like, the game master could only protect you for so long. And here you are. Here's a spot where you have to walk in. The dice didn't go your way. Who knows? I think players like that, they feel privileged in certain games. They are catered to in a certain way. And it can make you act like a spoiled child when you get in a mindset like that. Like you're catered to too much, so you might not notice that you're being a bit of a spoiled child of the entire thing. Yet when you get to a game where players are simply not babied in that way, they don't react that way, right? It improves players because they really get to see where their bad decisions lead to a bad outcome. Like, you just let it happen. It's almost the best thing to do. I wish I really would have figured out how beneficial to the player that is when I first started. I wish I didn't spend years doing that. Hey man, are you sure? I realize now how foolish it was. Because it probably held some of my players back over the years. They probably got by, right, with bad decisions, because here I am guiding them away from their own bad decisions. But what are they learning? They're not learning much, and they're making more bad decisions. People learn from facing consequences. That's how it goes. There was a topic on Twitter today, or X, about splitting the party. Let's go to that for a second. And I said it's really, all of that is on the game master side. If they let it, if they don't, it's all on the side of the game master. And in reality, you let the party split up if they want to split up. I mean, to me, it's an excuse. If you say to me, well, I'm keeping them together to protect them, well, that's not your job as a game master to protect them. You let them do whatever they want. That's players. It's a lot of game masters can't handle the split up, and they won't be honest about that. They'll actually try to say they're protecting you, they're this or that. I say no, you are probably covering for your own ass in most cases. Let players split the party up. That's part of learning from bad decision making. See, splitting the party up should always be left to the players, though really it's going to be on the game master side to make sure they don't step in and try to prevent that. Let them split the party up, let them get killed. That's what, as a game master, it's not about being unfair. You're as fair as you can be. That's your job. And actually, that's a good mindset to get with players because they take you more serious. It's a benefit overall just to let things happen in a cold way. Not like you intend it, and your players will clearly know you don't intend it. You're just letting them do whatever they want. And they'll realize right away, yeah, it's their bad decision that led to the thing, because it will be obvious because you're allowing it to happen. Right? You're allowing their decision to play out. And that's why it becomes harder to look at you and blame you for the outcome. because you're someone who said yes to what they wanted to do, not no. And that's going to be recognized. And you just letting players do whatever they want, that's more valuable to players than just about anything else you can offer them. Players want to do some crazy things. It's not about saying no to bad player stuff. It's about saying yes to just creative ideas. I don't say yes to everything. There's some foolish questions out there, that players will ask you, like, hey, what's the answer to this, when their character can't know that information. There's a lot of dumb questions that come from players where they're going to get refused. They're told, no, I can't tell you that. But when it comes to being creative, when it comes to their decision making with their characters, that's player agency. And I let that play out for whatever it is. Right? Just let it go. I don't care how it works out. I don't think about the idea of splitting the party like it's a topic. Just, oh, your characters are going this way. I'm in it. I look at it that way. When people talk about splitting the party like it's some big topic, you mean when players take some of their characters this way? And I don't see it as this labeled topic to care about. Players do whatever they want. They face the outcome of their decisions. It's as simple as it is for me. Sometimes they stick together. Sometimes they might not. Who knows? But if they make good decisions, the game should be more survivable. That's what I've been preaching about the meat grinder stuff. That's why I didn't like AD&D first edition. I felt second edition with good decisions was more survivable, right? Like you had a better chance at really getting a character in a rough game where you can lose your character. It can be a meat grinder, but it's also a game on the alternative side where you can get to the end with your character that started. And you could do that quite confidently if you play well. But my game would become a meat grinder and all that if you played terribly. I don't like games where if you play well, it's still a meat grinder potentially. That's why I wasn't a big fan of the first edition, and I preferred second edition AD&D. Because that was the experience I noticed between the two, the survivability factor, where second edition could be just as harsh and meat grinding if you're making bad decisions. It wasn't like it was an easy game to walk through, but if you made good decisions, yeah, it was easier than AD&D first edition, meaning the game rewarded your good decision making with a chance to actually survive. And you go back to AD&D 1, where even if you make every good decision, the chance that you lose that character is still very, very, very high. Higher than 50% that your character is going to go no matter how well you played. So you better have backup characters. Where in second edition, you could get away with not having a backup character as long as you're not playing terribly, right? And there's my take on game masters coddling the players. You're not doing your players any favors, and you're not setting a good relationship. You want them to be scared of things. You want them to take your game serious. If they know you just let shit happen, you get in their head, and they'll take you serious. Trust me. That's just how it works. Anyway, I love you. For now, take care.